Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is May the 6th, 2020. Strong hand, long-term thinking. Uncompensated Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Do not accept the new normal. Fitting in is overrated. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Deferral of gratification. Conviction. Principles over practicality. We're going to talk about that. Solutions over sympathy. Be an individual. All right. Make sure you watch This Week in Bitcoin. Christian was on the show along with Old Ugly Goat. It's linked to below. You can see it at techbalt.com or disruptmeister.com. Make sure you check out all the links below. Guys, by the way, this show always lasts an hour. If there's a topic you don't like, just fast forward because there's all sorts of different topics. Some of them are listed in the notes section. Some of them are listed in the links below, but some you're going to have to find out just by listening and stuff. So if you don't like the virus stuff, you don't like the riot stuff, there's health stuff, there's all sorts of stuff going to be in this show. So jump around. Don't get discouraged if it's not your favorite thing. If you're watching a tape, definitely play it at 2x. Okay, so finally, for those of you who can see me, I'm finally clean shaven. Like it's been a long time. I also have a different shirt on. It says Satoshi in Japanese. You've seen it before in honor of Satoshi Nakamoto, but this is Beyond Bitcoin. It's nice to be clean shaven. I will tell you that. Okay. Anyone? This is a quote from Steven Crowder, and he has been very good about the current event situation that's going on now. Anyone who tells you to kneel and who isn't God is probably an evil person. He was calling the virtue signal kneelers, he was using a bad word. Let's say he was calling them kitties. Now, I'm going to talk about using bad words later. I don't think you should be using bad words. But in this case, it's a pretty good description of the people who kneel. Who think they're going to gain brownie points, virtue signaling points. They're going to be forgiven. No. Kneel before Zod. It reminds us of that Superman movie. It used to be if you kneel before Zod, I mean you were weak, and now it's you're kneeling. It's the coolest thing. Fitting in is overrated, and I'm going to stress this. I will never kneel. I don't know how any Jewish person would ever kneel. I mean, Christian people too. It's in the Old Testament. You only kneel before God. So for those of you who make fun of religion, that's a pretty good principle right there. You don't bow down to anybody, okay? Any human. You are an individual. You don't worship a king or anything like. We're not living in those times. But it seems like there are people out there that will only be satisfied if you bow down, and that shows that they're pretty sickening people. I don't know. We can get into that in another show, but I will never kneel. And I think that's maybe that should be a saying. People tweet out, pound that like button. I will never kneel. Okay. So let's talk about the trip that I just took. We're going to get back into this George Floyd mass movement stuff in a second. Don't worry. And if you've got questions about Beyond Bitcoin type of stuff and you're watching this live, type it in, type in my name over there. Proud Zionist Jew in there. It'll show me. Or you could just get my attention somehow by putting pictures in there. I don't know. I can see that out of the corner of my eye. All right. So I want to recommend Enterprise rent-a-cars for relatively short trips. Well, okay. I drove from Baltimore to Asheville, where I am right now, Asheville, North Carolina, which is a lovely town in the mountains of Western North Carolina, not far from Tennessee. And in order to get down here, I could have taken a plane, but there was going to be a layover and like in wacky places, maybe in Houston. It was insane. There was no direct flight, I don't think. And it was very time consuming. I left Baltimore at 10:30 a.m., okay? And I got here and I took a very leisurely way here. I stopped at a Walmart. We're going to talk about the Charlestown, West Virginia Walmart later in this show. So it took me 10 hours to get here. I got here a little after 8 o'clock. So a little under 10 hours to get here. And it was only $107, including gas. By the way, the last bit of gas I got was $1.59 a gallon. Ooh. And even in Maryland, near Frederick, Maryland, I think it was like $1.89 or something. So anyway, $107 for the rental. I got insurance on it that included $23 of insurance because I was like, if I get hit by a deer, whatever, I can afford. If it's only going to end, I didn't know it was going to end up that cheap. $107 total for the whole trip, and that includes the Lyft. That's like Uber, Lyft, that I got from where I was staying in the Baltimore area to the Enterprise place. Okay. And so I was entitled to the car from, I guess, 10:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. I actually dropped it off at 6:30 a.m. I got up early. I was a little worried. I didn't want to get charged an extra day or anything like that. So I dropped it off before they open. It's easy. You just drop the keys in there and that was it. And then they send you the confirmation that you didn't damage it or anything like that. $107 round trip. That's for whatever, 500 some mile trip. If you got something like that to do, it's fun to avoid the plane because I would have had to take a Lyft to the BWI, wait around for a plane, take a plane to some other city, then take another plane to here, then somehow get from the airport to where I'm staying. It was great. So by the way, when I dropped off my car at Enterprise, then I ran back because I can do that. When you're in shape or when you're a runner and everything like that, when you're in motion, you drop the car off, then you go on your run. Your Thursday, what was it? Yeah, Thursday run when I still hadn't eaten. We'll get into the 120-hour fast. So yeah, I don't recommend. And then it was only supposed to be like a 1.5 mile run, and it ended up being like 3 miles because I messed up. And yeah. All right. So some people out there, they really want but hey, there's a travel tip for you. You guys are, how do you travel all over the place? $107, dude. That's all it was. The whole thing. All right, to get down here. So that's a darn good deal. That was cheaper than the plane too. That was cheaper than the plane, and it might have been faster than the plane. And I got to bring some extra food that I had brought from Los Angeles to Baltimore because I didn't eat in Baltimore at all. Anyway, all right. So some people want their own 1968 riots. Okay, they want their 60s era feeling. I mean, we live in such a comfortable time. People are like, I'm not satisfied with my own life. I want some meaning. The 60s look cool. The media has made the 68 riots look so awesome. Let's have our own now. Let's do our own thing. Okay. This gives some people some cheap meaning, I guess. They joined this George Floyd mass movement. There are a lot of reasons again, it's fitting in, but there are a lot of people. It's exciting for them. Oh, I get to have my own 1968, and I'm 26, and I wasn't around then. Oh, all right. So I'm going to go check here in a second. I need to stop by Tel Aviv. Someone said, yes, you do. It's a great place. Tel Aviv is awesome. All right. And Barefoot Barry is in New Zealand. Good to see you, dudes. All right. No questions over there. Back to the show. And remember, you can fast forward, play it at 2x. Bitcoin doesn't issue a statement against racial bias and violent abuse. I put that in another show. But the Orioles do. Everyone has been doing. Every entity you can imagine has been sending me emails like, this is our statement against racial bias. We don't like racial bias. Yeah, no. All right. We're against violent abuse. Of course you are. But then a lot of these groups are going the extra mile. They're like, we're giving all this money to Black Lives Matter. We're giving all this money to these people. The fear of getting canceled. It's just amazing that they feel like they have to support what's going on, and they can't say anything bad about the looters or anything like that. That this is all good. This mass movement is great. And Amazon.com, they even did it. I linked to their. They donate $10 million to organizations supporting justice and equity. Okay, and they can do what they want to do. Okay. I'm not giving in to all this stuff and all of a sudden throwing away money to various organizations that support who knows what to virtue signal. I will never do that. Principles over practicality. These people, they think they're bringing these entities, they think they're being very practical here. They're like, okay, well, we're going to give now and then we're going to be respected. These groups will never bother us. Oh, no. They see that you're weak. They're going to keep on extorting you over and over. Once you give in once, you give an inch, they're going to take a mile, baby. They're going to take a mile. All right. So whatever, Amazon can afford it. They can keep on giving these groups whatever type of money they want to and make these feel-good statements. All right, we're against bad stuff. Great, you're against bad stuff. Principles over practicality. Stand for something, dude. Stand for something real. Not just giving into the latest trend and trying to fit in. All right, and just all of a sudden becoming just into whatever the latest thing is, whoever the latest victim is, you're into now. Come on. So Drew Brees, I was going to talk about how he actually stood for something. He wasn't giving into the pressure. He said that he would, he's against people who kneel and to the flag, and that he had his grandfathers were in World War II. And then a few days later, he totally gives it. He totally CUCKs out. Totally disgraceful. Just again, practicality. He couldn't take the pressure. He couldn't take the heat. He had to fit in. He said insensitive comments on insensitive comments. Come on, dude. They weren't insensitive. What was so? He was saying he was proud of his grandfathers. But this is the world we're living in. This is the tone that is being set out there. We all have to conform to the laytest mass movement. We have to outdo the next person. We can't call looting. It's unbelievable. I can't wait for the entity out there to say, no, we're not supporting this. We refuse to support anything that has to do with these looters. Anything that these looters are trying to spread the word about, we're against. I mean, I'm saying that right now. I can do that. I'm an individual. I will never support any of this nonsense. And have you guys ever been to the Black Lives Matter website? It's crazy the things they support. I mean, and anyway, the Black Lives Matter movement's being used. All sorts of people are using it to spread these communist ideas, tear down capitalism. No way I'm going to be blindly get into that. And so many people are just blindly buying into it because it's the latest cool thing. They don't even know what they're supporting. They're supporting movements that would take everything away from them. Make them into redistribute everything they have. They don't even know what they're doing. They're just trying to fit in, virtue signal, whatever. So, but no. I think if a corporation said, no, we're not playing this game at all. You're not getting anything from us. We are totally against all this. They would get a lot of support, but they're just too scared. They have no principles. They stand for nothing. And when you stand for nothing, you end up kneeling. Pound that like button because the Meister does not kneel. All right. Now, talk about Drew Brees, who CUCK'd out there. All right. Yeah. It does take real confidence, real pride, real conviction to stand by what you believe in, despite the mob and the herd. Be a unique beast, indeed. All right. So today I went running. But my run week started last Sunday in LA. Then the next time I ran was in Baltimore. And I didn't run very much there. So, and then on Thursday, I ran 3 miles, which was more than I should. So I had to run like 10 miles today to get my 20 miles in. And it was hot here. And I do map out everything, but I didn't map out elevation. And guess where Asheville is? It's in the mountains. So my 10-mile run today had a lot of unexpected hills. I feel pretty ripped right now. Pound that like button. So there's a tip for you guys. When you're in mountain towns, make sure you look at the elevation. I'll be able to do my runs a little bit more efficiently than I did today. I won't be running up giant hills as much on my next few runs here in Asheville. It's pretty beautiful here. I got to run through a tunnel. And the area I'm staying, I guess it's a trendy area. They're basically within 2 or 3 blocks of me. There's a Whole Foods, a Trader Joe's, and a Harris Teeter. And so, of course, you've got hipsters around with their BLM stuff. They're wearing their masks still. All right. They actually, I think the hipsters, somebody tore up the downtown. They had a little riot here too, apparently, before I got here. So yeah, I have to keep on unsubscribing to various groups that I had been on email list for years. And I don't even know how I got on some of these email lists. Some of them were out of LA even. But I mean, these were liberal groups. I didn't mind getting emails from them, but I mean, they are kissing Tuchlis so much of BLM. It's unbelievable. I mean, I know others must be tired of these they're very predictable type of emails. They're all in like the same format too. They're all the same format. Like, we support, and I mean, the NFL is even issuing these things. But I mean, I have unsubbed to quite a few email lists that I was on. I wonder just how many people are also unsubbing. Do it, people. Yeah, I mean, this is like too far. I mean, I could take certain liberal stuff that they talk about, but the rest of it, this was ridiculous. And it's so predictable. And they're all saying the same exact thing. So yes, I already said these are pandering companies. And yeah, always, you guys should have principle over practicality. These guys have practicality over principle, and they will keep on being extorted. And because the extorters know the weakness, baby. So a lot of you, or a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people watching this thought this, what I'm about to say. And I'm just reading. Yeah, personal responsibility is the new counterculture. You better believe it. You better believe it more than ever it is. But there are a lot of people that say that we had the virus hysteria, and now we have this situation where there are people having protests in the streets and riots all over the world, or especially in the United States, and that it was all part of a master plan. Okay, and that this is all set up. It's a pretty bad master plan. Because think about it here. All of these gatherings, okay, there was a huge one in Philadelphia today, and they showed the crowds from the air, okay? It just shows you how ridiculous all the social distancing stuff was. It shows you right now, everyone can see that the virus was hysteria, okay? Well, yeah, sure, everyone's allowed to go protest now. Yeah, okay. Like, everyone's forgotten about the virus. So it's a pretty bad master plan if you're going to set up a virus and then set up racial riots. Okay, no, it's the current situation that the racial unrest, whatever you want to call it, is completely showing what a scam the virus hysteria was. Now, there was a real virus, but it's so obvious. It's so obvious now how blown out of proportion it was. If you have half a brain. Now, a lot of people don't have half a brain, but I will. Okay, so. You can look online. There was a huge crowd in Philadelphia today. I mean, packed from the air. It was just tremendous. And you don't have to be smart to understand this tweet, okay? 2 weeks ago, the media was enraged by a beach party in the Ozarks with a couple hundred people, all right? So there are a lot of people who can think back 2 weeks to when I think a lot of you remember that there were some people. I retweeted out. I'm like, I support these people. It showed all these people in the Ozarks at a pool party, and people were just shaming them, saying, "How could you do this?" Blah blah blah. And now the media is the media shamed those people, and now they're praising the Philadelphia people. So there are a lot of people that are not, I mean, regular thinking people that are really going to get it now. Okay, so. I think the virus hysteria has ended, all right? And from what I saw in Charlestown, West Virginia, at the Walmart, I mean, it was already well on its way, but it's like, I always say we don't have fancy sets or graphics here, and that I like when people just listen and try to listen in comprehension. But it's easier, see, spot, run. And when you see that they said bad Ozark party and now good Philadelphia, you're like, okay, something's wrong. Something was wrong. This isn't meshing here. So even, but yet still, there are people that are making excuses. But I think this virus, the media isn't even talking about it anymore. So they've basically given in too. Now, but both events. These weren't planned things, but they're definitely being hijacked by a lot of people for the same goal. When you put a person on a pedestal, okay, when you put the president on a pedestal, whoever's president, and then you end up with a bunch of people that are hating the current president, they are willing to go so far to rip him down from that, just to change, because they worship. There are all these people who are not individuals. They get their meaning from who's president, from their team winning. It's et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty disgraceful. So they've gotten to a point. A lot of people out there, they've gotten to a point that they hate They hate the president so much that they'll join any movement and use it to try to make sure he loses. Now, that's their prerogative. It's a complete waste of your life to do that. But you can see, I am sure a lot of the people that are marching, a lot of them are just like, I'm doing this just so Trump doesn't win. I'm wasting my time. Well, they're not wasting their time because they don't have jobs anymore. But it was convenient that so many people were unemployed that, of course, there are going to be more people marching than would be during a normal time. People have no idea some of the leftist stands that they are supporting because they blindly hate Trump so much. Like, I'm just going to join this Black Lives Matter thing and go out to the march in Philly or New York or whatever, and this will help bring down Donald Trump, and I'll get meaning out of that. All right. There are some people, though, that they are so guilty about who they are, and they want to give away they're pathological altruists. I mean, they would rather support a group of people they don't know, give everything up, not take care of their own selves, but support some cause. Okay, all right, that's a sickness. That's we're seeing that too. So there's all sorts of, and then of course some of the people that are protesting in these protests are looters and just want to steal and burn, and they don't care about any. Who knows what they care about? But they're just up to no good. But that's what's going on in the world today. All right. So while some people are acting like cavemen in the street and burning things down for no reason, Elon Musk, again, he is saying that he's sticking to his 2024 goal. By the way, strong hand 2024, Bitcoin halving. He's saying for him, his strong hand is sending men to Mars by 2024. He's sticking with that. He's saying he's going to start sending rockets in 2022 with supplies. That would be a huge accomplishment on its own. Okay. A private group to send rockets to Mars with supplies. With supplies. That's going to be great for it. But it's even more exciting that he's sticking with 2024. Just so inspirational. That is a guy that's in motion. This is the goal. That's golden age type of stuff. Okay. But, the people who are not into productivity, who want to complain, who want to, take away from others so they can have, they're not into that kind of thing. But hey, you can be in the Bitcoin overlay. You can care about that stuff. You don't have to fit into this mob mentality that's taking over the world, taking over the 80% of the world. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture. All right. So a lot of you who pay attention closely to the Beyond Bitcoin show, I have mentioned Alex Berenson many times, who was writing very logically about how the virus was overblown. And now he wrote a small pamphlet, a small book, whatever you want to call it. And Amazon tried to ban it, but they couldn't because Elon Musk shamed them into not. A lot of people put pressure on Amazon to not ban it. And lo and behold, it's the best-selling book on Amazon right now. And it's called Unreported Truths About COVID-19 and Lockdowns. And that is the best-selling thing on Amazon, book on Amazon. It shows you that a lot of people realized at some point that this was hysteria and ridiculous, and that old people should lock themselves up if they're scared about it. Or if you're scared about it, go lock yourself up, okay? But of course, or now they're like, oh, it's better to go protest than lock yourself. Okay. It's healthier to protest. They're making new rules. They actually some medical expert on Tucker Carlson quoted a medical expert, and I said last week that expert that's totally overrated. Run away when you hear an expert. Well, this expert said that it's okay to go to the George Floyd protest, but it's not okay to go to a protest against the lockdown. Dude, there's no lockdown anymore, man. Come on. They'll never. And again, if this was all planned, and it wasn't all planned, these riots are showing so many non-riotous people that wait a second, we're not going to put up with another lockdown again. If people are allowed to go riot and we weren't allowed to work, the next time they say you're not allowed to work, we're working. Okay. So it's now, I mean, we do have a problem on our hands now with lawlessness. I mean, that's something to deal with, obviously, but no master plan there, because it was not a good master plan. So there are people out there. There's a defund the police. Defund the police is a big new saying. You're supposed to repeat that mantra over and over again blindly, and join that mass movement. Okay, if you want to defund the police, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Defund the police. I want to defund the Department of Education and public schools. So, I mean, they're both union. This is union type of stuff, police union, public school union. But of course, the people that are screaming to defund the police, no, how you got to stick with the program, defund the police. That's the thing. In these mass movements, the George Floyd related mass movement, Black Lives Matter, you got to just stick with the mantras. You can't, if you support something else, if you have a different way of thinking about it, I mean, you're canceled. You're canceled. So of course, I cannot be canceled for the stuff I say. But I mean, they're bringing up a legitimate point. What would happen if the police were defunded? Let's discuss that. I mean, let's have a rational discussion about what would happen if the police were defunded. What would happen if the Department of Education, if the public schools were defunded? I mean, who would be hurt most if the police were defunded? Would it be the people? If the inner cities no longer had police, who would be hurt? I mean, I don't know. We should discuss that. But yeah. If they were like chanting defund the police, and I started saying defund public schools, what would happen to me? Would I be shouted down? Would I be beaten? I mean, now again, I'm saying, if people want to say defund the police, I don't want to silence them. I don't want to silence it. Let them say they're just repeat. I mean, most of them aren't really thinking what that means. But okay, defund the police. I think all bureaucracies should be thinned out. Definitely. All right. But I mean, this shows you the different types of people. They're the mature people that are willing to discuss real issues. And then they're the babies, the screamers that just want to get in the latest trend, scream the latest mantra, not understand what it even means, and just keep going. A part of a movement, a part of a mass movement. I found meaning. Defund the police. Okay. So yeah, now more than ever, conviction and firm stands are falling by the wayside. And fitting in is being chosen foolishly. Okay, I mean, you got to say it's, just it definitely counterculture to be an individual here. All right, personal responsibility is the new counterculture more than ever. I wanted to say, ugly old goat on This Week in Bitcoin. Besides giving his scary jail story, which was disturbing on many levels, he said something, and this is just, I mean, you should watch it. Labor should not be taxed. That was his best line, and I just wanted to share it on this show too. Pound that like button. And again, if you're watching the show and you think Ugly is rambling on about his jailhouse experiences, play to 2x or skip it. Okay, that's on Friday's show. He's a unique beast. He starts talking about singing in the jailhouse, and you never know what you're going to get from him. Hey, best guest in the freaking space. Christian's awesome too. All right. Now, if you're going to debate people about, and I think debating people on this, on a lot of the riot stuff, they're very emotional about it. Okay, I think it's a waste of time. One thing I suggest is that you do not curse, because they are going to curse eventually. They're going to start using foul language, the MF word probably. So if it was actually a public debate you would have with someone, you could get them to just start cursing wildly, which would eventually happen, and you just not curse. So pretty good. There's a tip for you right there. Now, the mayor of DC has her city locked down, okay? But she's encouraging people because of the disease, but she's encouraging people to protest. It just shows you the politicians. They make no sense at all. And again, the virus, I think if it was so bad, then why is it okay to protest now? Clearly, at some point, these so-called experts were lying. It's so out there right now. All right, yeah. So I talked about that there should be a company or entity that announced that they won't be donating any money to anyone who remotely supports this lawlessness. We respect property rights. I should have said that before. That's what they should say. We respect property rights. And yeah, that would counter this new narrative that's out there. apparently people are saying that there's no such thing as property rights, or property rights are overrated, or ugly old goat is awesome. Owning Bitcoin is the ultimate most effective way to protest. Well, owning Bitcoin is a good thing. Owning Bitcoin is a good thing. There's a whole economy created around my virus. Well, the media, for the media, there is, yeah. They got a captive audience. Their ratings are going up. All sats are created equal. Golden age for sure. Okay, it's a golden age in terms of Elon Musk. It's not a golden age in terms of people acting like buffoons in the streets. But now, but hey, they want their 1968. I mean, people, there's a price to pay. I mean, there's still going to be government dependence. They're still going to put whoever's president on a pedestal, whether they worship him or whether they despise him. They're not individuals. They're part of this Borg. It's unbelievable. It's becoming so obvious now. And they're so easily manipulated by mainstream media. It's quite hilarious. And it's like, and these are the people, the ones who are manipulated by mass media, mainstream media the most are going to be the ones that are going to be like, okay, forget about coronavirus. Forget about it. George Floyd now, that's the thing. But there are going to be plenty of people who are not going to forget about the hysteria. And I think that's good for the overall sanity of the rational people out there, at least. Now, what else do we have here? Only 30 minutes in. Good. I'm moving fast. Here's a quote. I forgot where I got it from. It was some comment section. It's always good to read comment sections under videos, people. You can get a feel of what's really going on out there. I think a good portion of society expects and needs government to solve their problems. I actually think a good hunk of this populace is literally incapable of solving anything on their own. Yep, a good hunk of the population is incapable of solving anything on their own. It's come to that. So of course they're going to join a mass movement and not understand what the heck they're joining, because they can't solve their own problems. And of course they're going to put the government on the pedestal because they can't solve their own problems. I mean, what's individualism, dude? It's the accomplishment. Individual collectivism is the default there, obviously. So I did want to point out with the police, since 2001, since September 11th, no doubt about it, they have been militarized. Okay, if you go to, especially in the bigger, I mean, in New York City, I've said this before. I mean, some of those police stations, like in Brooklyn and stuff, they're armored vehicles. They could take on small third world countries and beat them in wars. Okay, this is not what police were supposed to be. What we have in major cities, you know, looking like they're coming into like a hardcore battle. Just what's all the stuff they have, the bulletproof stuff, and I mean, they look like they're in the army, and it didn't used to be like that before 2001 at all. Okay, you might not like police, but it's ridiculous. They've been militarized since 2001. It was gradual at one point, but now it's ridiculous. It look like a war, and it's a waste of money. It's a complete waste of money. And New York City will say, well, because New York City got all those grants because of fighting terrorism and everything. So, but no, they really it's a waste. It's a waste of money, and they keep on getting bigger, better, more armored vehicles and armored clothing, and no, come on now. If you got your gun, all right, you've got your bulletproof stuff. You signed up for it. You know what you signed up for. Now, and I respect police. I mean, I think the situation in the country where over the last 20, 30 years, police have been made into villains. Thus, it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that I think some good people who would have wanted to be police in the first place, don't try to be police. And the standards have been lowered for a lot of reasons. So you're getting people that are a lot more impulsive, a lot more power hungry. And the unions have become stronger, and you can't fire anyone. There's a bureaucratic aspect to all this. And so I will say this: there are ways to to deal with the police. Instead of saying, let's get rid of all police, instead of getting emotional about it, there are actually rational steps that can be taken. I mean, I think I listed one of them that don't be so militarized. But we're going to get to that in a second. There's, I actually chopped something off here. People in general, the 80%ers, the impulsive people of the world, the people who don't produce that much, they have an inability to understand trends and common occurrences, just regular everyday things that happen all the time, statistically, versus flukes, okay, and anomalies. They don't, they hear about a fluke or an anomaly, and they think that's the trend. They think that's common. I mean, how else do you think casinos even work? People, the gambler mentality is all based around that. Like, oh man, yeah, that dude won $1 million at the slot machines. I'm going to go to the slot machines. But I mean, if you know, they don't pay off that much very often. You should understand that, but some people don't understand that. And when that's applied to everything in life, it can be really, well, if you understand, the difference between flukes and trends and what takes place commonplace, you're going to do well in life. Okay. The impulsive are so triggered by flukes and by anomalies. Okay. And the media really loves to promote anomalies. Okay. And make things seem so much worse than they are. Okay. In so many situations, but the masses buy it up. They don't look at the overall statistics and see that for so many people, life has improved since the 1860s or the 1960s. Okay. And that, I think you get my point. Now, it's funny. Iran and Russia, China and Turkey celebrate collapse of the U.S. They issued some statements that they were happy about what's going on. And yeah, let Iran and Russia and Turkey, let them be happy because they're nothing. Those countries are so weak. China, of course, they are a real country. They are a powerful country. But I mean, of course, they're gonna be happy about what they think that the country that they want to promote. That they can't influence anything in this country. For those of you who are saying, "Oh, Russia said something," dude, they're weak. They're not influencing any of this. They don't have bots. They don't. Please. I don't want to hear about Russian bots or anything. But I just want to say that, yeah, they're dudes. They're straight up saying, yeah, we like what's going on. Okay, great. You like what's going on. You enjoy life in Iran, life in Russia, life in Turkey. I hear it's lovely in those regions. It's great. Even with all these, what's been going on in the United States, a lot better here. And a lot better than China, too. Unfortunately, the United States some people in the United States want to go the way of China, the mass surveillance. They like that. Some people like that. So yeah, my 120-hour fast ended on Thursday night. It was, I think it was only my second 125. It's a 5-day fast. And I think my stomach might have shrunk because I on at least today, Saturday, I felt full faster or something. I don't know, but it's good. I felt refreshed. I was so busy all of those days. I planned it perfectly. There was so much I had to get done in Baltimore, family related stuff I had to do for people, computer stuff, that I had no time to eat anyway. There was no thinking about eating. And so I didn't feel the fast very much. And I wasn't getting good. I mean, I could have gotten better sleep. And even with not getting better sleep, now I'm getting some good sleep again. It's great. And please, that's really important to do, everyone. Get good sleep. I always get my 8 hours, but sometimes it gets like 3 hours. During the trip in Baltimore, it was like 3 hours at one random time, and then 5 hours, like 18 hours later. It's crazy what was going on. But I got it all done. Well, the one thing I didn't get done, which all of you noticed, I have my new laptop. I had not set up my new laptop. So I got my new laptop here, but I'm using my old laptops. I didn't have time. I had to set up other people's computer stuff, but I do feel quite accomplished with everything else that I got done. I drove down here. I did the fast. What else? I don't know. I feel I got through it. It wasn't that big. It was not a big deal at all. It was probably easier than the other. It was easier than the other 120-hour fast that I did in 2018. And I felt that one in my legs more. And yeah, I should not have run 3 miles on Thursday morning. I should have run, but I messed up and I went the wrong way. I ended up picking berries, mulberries. Oh, they're so good. I had mulberries here. I had them in Australia during, this is opposite. In November is May here. November, you get the point. I love mulberries. Pound that like button. When you can pick them for free and you just, that's Adam for you. No, and of course, I picked the mulberries and then I ate them later because 120-hour fast did not end at that point. All right. Baltimore, some Baltimore news here. Yeah, come on. People say they're starving. You can get free mulberries out there. Come on, people. I always find a way, dude. You can always find a way. If you've got conviction, you can find a way. You can find free food, baby. Now, in Baltimore, there's 2 articles I wanted to share. I voted. I did vote because there was they sent out absentee ballots to everyone, so I voted. And so here's an article: why vote in person? Because this mail-in primary does not inspire. Oh yeah, a lot of people voted in person in Baltimore because they were not confident that their votes would be counted if they mailed them in. They did not trust Baltimore. So I mean that is an interesting point. I wonder. There are a lot of people that are saying the mail-in ballots everyone's going to mail in their ballots now. They won't want to vote in person. There were a lot of people that wanted to vote in person, but they just didn't trust. They like doing it the way they always did it. Okay, for all you voting freaks out there, you can read that article. Also, classically Baltimore, they talk about some people that finally received their ballots, but they were the wrong ones. They were from the wrong precinct. All right, Baltimore. So hydroxychloroquine, a really big story came out. And I was telling you, dudes, this people, it became political because the president mentioned it. People wanted it to fail. And apparently there was basically a fake study out there to make sure that it looked like it did fail, that it made it look like people were dying. And here's a quote. This is an absolutely colossal scandal. This paper prompted by the WHO to stop HCQ trials in 35 countries. So this fake paper made the WHO, which is corrupt anyway, stop HCQ trials in 35 countries and further discredit science where it intersects with politics. Yeah, amen on that. Today, 3 of the authors have retracted hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine with or without. Okay, that's the title of the thing. Read the retraction, notice, and statement from the Lancet. So they had to issue a retraction, the Lancet. And this is pretty hardcore. Of course, the media isn't covering it because they still want to pretend that hydroxychloroquine is a killer when it's the opposite. When it really does help. If you catch this disease early, it helps you. It does. And people saying these people were quacks. I mean, that were saying that Trump's a quack, that everybody's a quack, that says to use it, that you're going to die from it. This was the so-called study, which was a fake study, basically a fake study that made up this lie that the media jumped on. It's so disgraceful. Okay. I mean, but so many people just eat up with the media, with the mainstream media feeds you. If you watch my show, if you read the sources on Twitter that I give out to you, Market Ticker, you know for months that the HCQ, the hydroxychloroquine, works. It's safe at least. It's been a malaria pill used for 50, 60, 70 years, whatever. All right. Yeah, I wonder how they're going to get all this vaccine. Okay, anyway. Now that people won't be scared about the disease anymore, because what's going to happen is there's not going to be spikes in deaths or anything crazy like this after everyone's been out in the streets. So a lot of people are going to think, well, why do I need a vaccine for this thing? I don't know how. All right, that's another show. All right, so get rid for police. Something logical that could be done is to get rid of something called qualified immunity. And from what I heard, this qualified immunity, which was, again, the union got them. If a cop does something wrong, like shoots someone by accident or makes a mistake, a deadly or dangerous mistake, they don't get into trouble. If you or I did something like that, we would get into big trouble. So that is something that could, I think everyone could agree on. And there's, but people would rather scream and have just go crazy. And what's this say? For a lot of problems with that. All right. Yeah, the unions won't let it. And it's funny because there's a lot of big talkers in big cities that, they try to show that they're not down with the cops or whatever. Every one of them wants the police union endorsement. Every one of them for years have given into whatever the police wanted. Okay. This is true in Baltimore. They always want the union's endorsement. And the only way you get the union's endorsement is if you give them all sorts of benefits. Okay. Be it qualified immunity, et cetera, et cetera. Cops, I think they should be, if you want to be a policing entity, you should be held to a higher standard than the regular population. You should be an expert in terms of using your weapon and how to calm things down. Okay, that's your job. And I think a lot of people out there say, well, there are a lot of cops that, because they have a special uniform, they think they're above the law, and that's not what the original intent of all this was. If you're interested in policing, it's not about power. It's not about bossing people around. It's about, I think, enforcing logical, fair laws. Now, at the same time, if policemen are regular people, and if they are going into situations where they feel like that they could get into a situation where they might have to use their gun and they could get into trouble, there's no more qualified immunity, then they won't go to those horrible neighborhoods. I mean, that's part of it too. But I mean, personal responsibility is a new counterculture. I mean, there's a give and take to all this type of thing. So I've lived in inner city Baltimore before in Reservoir Hill, and I've dealt with a lot of policemen, and I think they're willing to. They always seem really willing to deal with the people and their complaints. And some of these people had wild complaints, okay? And some of the people weren't friendly. No, again, and some cops they were so frustrated by the situation, they just wanted to get in there 30 years and get their retirement too. So are police perfect? No, they are not perfect. Have they become too militarized? Yeah, they've become too militarized. Have qualifications been lowered? Yes, they have. Have the unions protected some that shouldn't be protected and given them too much power? Yes. So, I mean, this all can be talked out. This can be a bipartisan thing. But there's along the way, in the inner cities, the politicians wanted to win. They wanted to get the vote. They wanted to win for their own greed. They take endorsements from anyone who gives them money. When you get an endorsement, you get a little check too. All right. So enough about that. But to become emotional about it and burn everything down, and to say completely defund police departments. I mean, all right. What would happen if you defunded the Baltimore City Police Department? What would happen? Now, would there all of a sudden be a libertarian police agency in Baltimore, in St. Louis, in Cleveland? Do you think a libertarian gun-toting agency would then take over? Try it out, see. Now, this is from the great, what's his name? Robert. I forgot what Robert's last name is. He's a big lawyer. He represented Alex Jones. It's linked to below. Orwell's ghost rewrites AP guidance on how not to call looting. So the AP issued some guidance to their writers not to use looting because it's too triggering and it's insane. They were looting. So some people actually had some funny ways of describing looting in a politically correct woke way. bravely redistributing inequality. Bravely redistributing inequality. I like that one. Undocumented ownership. Pound that like button. So when I was driving down here, there was one disturbing. I hadn't listened to the radio in so long. Well, I hadn't driven a car since December the 12th. And that's when I listened to the radio. So I had to listen to the radio. They didn't have XM in it. They didn't have satellite radio. I mean, they had some of the cars, you can tell, like they had the option in there, but they hadn't put it in there. All right, that's fine. So I have a horrible cramp in my foot right now too. So there were a lot of ads on the radio. Like they were such beta bootlicking ads. I couldn't believe it because obviously now a lot of businesses aren't back yet. So they're not advertising anymore. So like there's like government and I don't know who these people were, but they were like saying, remember to wear your mask. Remember to stay 6 feet apart. I mean, it sounded like something out of some government propaganda, out of some novel, some horrible dystopian novel, some of these radio ads. It was amazing. I was very shocked. It sounded like communist propaganda of some sort. Like, the virus is dangerous. Be careful. Blah, blah, blah. Now, so that was weird. But, I mean, radio stations got to survive somehow. They got to get ad revenue somehow. So they took this weird stuff. Now, when I stopped in Charlestown, so when I was in Baltimore, again, I did not have enough time to buy the new pants, the new running pants I needed, the new black pants I needed, the new boxers I needed, and a few other things. I just didn't have time in Baltimore. So I was like, well, wait a second. I'm going to have my get this rental car. I'll just buy it. I'll just stop at some Walmart on the way to North Carolina. So I stopped in Charlestown, West Virginia. All right. I go into the Walmart there. There were like a few people wearing masks. It was crowded. I mean, there were quite a few people in there. I gotta say, it's run pretty efficiently, much more efficient than some of the ones in the Baltimore area that I haven't been to in a very long time. I will tell you that. But they had like Walmart had all their corporate coronavirus nonsense there. They like had feet on the ground to like stand 6 feet apart, and some of their workers were wearing masks. But it was so obvious that these people in Charlestown, West Virginia, they just didn't care anymore. And again, a few of them were wearing masks. So some of them cared on that level. But dude, no one was social distancing in Walmart. It was crowded. I mean, it was real life again. It was totally normal, except they had the corporate nonsense up there, like having to show that they actually care about the virus when hardly anyone, like again, not all the workers were wearing masks. They weren't even caring. So their manager wasn't enforcing it. Now, I don't know what level of coming back to reality West Virginia's in. I don't know, and I don't give a darn. But I just know what I saw in that Walmart. It was basically a normal Walmart. There just was some people with masks and everything. So that was good. That was nice to see because in LA, the people on the streets, there were definitely quite a few people still freaked out on the streets. But then it's funny, last week's show, there was a riot going on when I was doing my show from LA. I think probably some people have woke up since then, I think. Now, so fitting in is overrated, guys. Be a unique beast. Do not accept the new normal. So what have you learned today? Be a man, be an individual, be proud. These are things that people have forgotten. You get shamed if you're a man now, if you're an individual, or if you're proud of your accomplishments. And another thing, no revenge. No scapegoating, no resentment. All right. Be an adult. Today, it's at so many of these protests. For a lot of people, it is about revenge. They want people to bow down to them. They think that's going to get them some meaning. It is about scapegoating. It's about blaming different groups of people for their own problems. Okay, as individuals, and it's about resentment. It's about straight up hate and stuff. And these are very unhealthy qualities. And you've heard me mention this kind of stuff for a long time, the no scapegoating especially. And now you see the other side of the story. Who does the scapegoating? Who does the revenge? Who says that middle-class people are trying to shame or hate middle-class people and call them privileged, okay? And you can't be proud. You can't be proud that your parents worked their butts off, okay? To put you into a good situation in life to send you off to college and everything. I am so proud of my parents because every generation of my family, you do well for yourself and you do well for your kids, and they should be proud of you, and they should aim to be better than you, aim to be high, and then you should be proud when they are better than you. My dad was darn proud of me when I told him how many darn Bitcoin I had. Pound that like button. And I am darn proud of every darn Bitcoin I had. Pound it, dudes. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister. And you want to call me privileged? No, dude. Call me whatever you want to call me, dude. I got it. You can have it too. Just work hard. Do it, dudes, and be proud and strive for greatness. Strive for it's greatness. You can call it privilege. You can I don't care what you darn call it, baby. Pound it, though. Pound that freaking like button. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister, and I'm looking to see if New York City actually owns 4 sets of small surface-to-air rocket aircraft for takedowns. I wouldn't. It wouldn't shock me if they have surface-to-air missiles. 4 of them. That's not that many. But yeah, that's militarized. All right. I'll just see if there are any comments. Citizens have to wear a mask to protect older Americans, but when Buffalo police push them down, they resign and get ovations after being charged. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Oh. All right, dudes. We get all sorts of things. Hey, everybody. All right. Much appreciated, dudes. Thank you. Remember, new show every day. Pound it. Pound that like button. See you later. Bye-bye.